This is Motorman Elwin here at the Radio BVM on location here at the Burnaby Village Museum. And today we have a special guest on location here. His name is Ron J. Gorman from the Burnaby Farmers Market. Welcome, Ron, and how are you today?
Elwin, thanks for having us here today. I'm really excited to be here. Beautiful sunny day, or at least getting there, so yeah.
I'm glad that you can join us today. Tell me about the Burnaby Farmers Market.
Well, I can certainly say, time-wise, it's Saturdays at the Burnaby City Hall parking lot, just near Canada Way and Deer Lake Parkway, every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's rain or shine, for sure.
And how is your role in this whole organization?
Well, I'm the president of the Artisan Farmers Market Association, which runs 3 different markets, one at Lonsdale Quay in North Vancouver and one at Ambleside over in West Vancouver. So I do the Burnaby Farmers Market as a seafood vendor there.
And you've been involved with the organization for quite some time?
Approximately 5 years. The funny thing in how this all started for me, I didn't grow up knowing much about a farmer's market, but my dad was a commercial fisherman for almost 40 years. Uh-huh. And I spent a good chunk of my career working with street kids, young offenders, kids in care with the Ministry of Children and Families.
Well, that's a bit of a jump.
It was a big jump where I could actually enjoy doing my work without being sworn at and having to worry about dealing with how do I physically restrain this person if there's going to be a conflict. And so it was really nice to just find a place where we could really enjoy a social interaction with the customers and help promote BC seafood, which was my dad's big dream for a lot of his years.
So how did you actually get into the actual role that you actually are doing? Because I thought maybe you would have got into the fish business like your father.
Well, when I was in high school, my dad's like, "So, son, you're going to take over the boat." I said, "Dad, you better count on my younger brother, Trevor, because it sure ain't happening with me." I always knew that I wanted to work with kids. However, the transition came into being when Dad was frustrated with BC seafood going everywhere around the planet except formulating a really strong base here in British Columbia. A lot of people didn't know what we actually had because you would go to a supermarket and you wouldn't find a whole lot that was locally caught, so that people had a reason to go, oh, I really love BC for something other than just sockeye or halibut, which were the 2 predominant species when we started the business. And he was a ground fisherman.
So if I was to go to the Burnaby Farmers Market, which I haven't been to, what will I see there? What will I find there?
Well, at the Burnaby Farmers Market, we have a number of different vendors. Because we're part of the Artisan Farmers Market Association, there's certainly also an inclusivity towards artisans being there who make their own crafts, jewelry, pottery, that sort of thing. But you'll find a stellar beef, chicken, pork, awesome seafood vendor, but thank you. But you'll find locally made cheeses, you'll find locally grown produce, and the nice thing about the farmers market is you have a choice between if you want to go full organic with certain products. We've got some biodynamic products there as well that are locally grown from Chilliwack, and there is Urban Digs Farm, which is just down in the Marine Drive area. So you've got some local urban farmers as well. So you've got a great selection of produce and proteins, some dairy options, and some fantastic bakeries, all kinds of good stuff.
So you're telling me if I shop at the Burnaby Farmers Market, I don't need to go to the other supermarkets then?
Well, the nice thing about business is that we all need to eat, and there are a lot of options. So some people have choices. I've heard a lot of people talk about at the markets, oh man, there's something more expensive locally at the farmer's market versus what I find in the supermarket.
Common complaint.
Absolutely. Part of that is small businesses operate at a certain level. And so if you're an organic farmer, that's going to be a lot more costs that you're incurring than your traditional conventional farmers. So it's nice that people have a choice to go if my budget fits one and not the other, or if I want to gradually incorporate something into my diet. And that's how I started to get on the bandwagon with farmers markets. I started with eggs that weren't from chickens that were in cages. And that came because I was able to talk to the chicken vendor at the market, and they were able to explain some good information as to, well, if your chickens are in this kind of an environment, it's going to affect the quality of the food that you're going to digest. It's really about, are you connected to your food sources?
I want to be a vendor at the farmer's market. What's involved?
Well, depending on what you're doing, it's certainly a lot easier if you're a crafter or an artisan because you don't have to go through the loopholes. But there are very stringent processes. If you're a food provider in any way, whether it's baking, whether it's proteins or dairy, you have to check in with your local health unit because there are strict standards in place so that if I was just going and buying fish from some distributor that was from Thailand or Korea and then come to the market, say it's local, there are different rules, restrictions in place. I have to go through that. I have to say, here's where my product comes from, here's where it's processed. Likewise, for the vendors with food, they have to go through those same health processes. So you get people that are really committed to having a certain pride in what they're bringing to the market. And back to the point on supermarkets is there's a place for that business. There was a wisdom that said, hey, let's provide something that's central, that's reasonable in price that we can afford. However, what we're noticing now is if you look on TV and you see any of the major grocery stores, they're all emulating farmers market philosophy. Food has certainly changed in how we're growing it, in how we're harvesting it or raising it. However, what hasn't changed is good food affecting your body in natural, healthy ways. You always want to have that connection to go, what am I putting in my body? Or do I even think about what I'm putting in my body? So you get a lot of great answers to help you make certain choices for yourself that you go, I'm willing to jump in here, but I don't have the pocketbook for this kind of option for maybe something that's a little higher end for cost.
Tell me, Ron, farmer's market, isn't it more than just about food? Is it something beyond just purchasing foods?
Can I tell you the fun
By all
that
means.
I've had with the customers at the market?
Fun is good.
Number one, the beauty of being able to insult your customers while they're insulting you back, friendly, like I'm
Yes.
talking just having a lot of fun in the general interaction, remembering their names, talking about what's going on with their family while you're getting the fish or the veggies. The relational connections with the market, people are just fantastic. Not only customer base and coming out when it's a really rainy day and you're thinking, what am I doing out here as a business person in the pouring rain, hoping that I'm going to make money? But customers of the markets are very graciously supportive, even if the weather stinks. But you have this just relationship that's so friendly and warm and engaging. It's almost that sense of the community marketplace of people might find in a church that if you go to a church and you see people of all different ages and different experiences, but nowadays we all seem to have our groups that we belong to. The farmers market makes this beautiful opportunity for us to all come together and connect socially. And the relationship,
Community. Is it not like
the
community?
community is what it's all about.
So
Yeah.
do you not have other activities there that kind of simulates a community?
Certainly a few different things. We've got some children's programs that we have
Wonderful.
at the market. So we definitely try and make sure that if parents are coming to the market, of course, they're bringing their kids. And their kids need something to do. So we try and provide activities. Last year we had Four Cats Art Studio, which has art studios all around the Lower Mainland. And they would come and help facilitate kids learning about art and how to express artistically. So that was one thing that I was really excited about, as well as bubbles and teddy bear picnics. And
Are there not musicians there sometimes?
there are musicians, absolutely. We have a lot of local
Local, I
musicians,
assume.
which is fantastic. And people, again, musicians that love supporting the venue and the concept of farmers markets.
Again, community oriented.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Did I see somewhere, I think I was reading somewhere, something about games, chess games and newspaper tables, that type of thing? Was that your site or was that
You know,
something else?
sometimes what's nice in this world where it's busy, busy and go, go, go
I know.
is that, especially, I don't know if you notice this when you're out to the stores, but the wife has the agenda.
The wife?
And the husband's going, okay, when can we get out of here? So the nice thing is that you can certainly sit, read the paper. We have food trucks there as well. So you can come enjoy either a breakfast or a lunch at the market, relax, read the paper, or you can play chess with a neighbor or a fellow customer that you're there. It's nice about just developing that sense of routine, and that's unhurried. And I've got to say this about the Burnaby Farmers Market, is that even though it's not as massive as some of the ones you may find in Vancouver, what's nice is that you do have the space. You do have the ability to just come in and know that you don't have to be in 10 different lineups because things are so crazily busy. It's a really nice, relaxed atmosphere.
Okay, let's say, for instance, I purchased something from a vendor, one of your vendors on site, and for whatever reason, I have an issue.
So
what recourse do I have?
All of the vendors that are at the market, because it's relational, if you were to have a bad experience with some seafood you got from me, for example, I absolutely put out there a return policy or a product exchange. Also, with the health board, there are places or there's standards in place for recall issues, just like you would find in a supermarket or any other major processor. So there are all those different pieces of the puzzle that protect the consumer from making sure the product is taken care of exceptionally. But also that if you've got a problem, please bring it back. Don't let that sense of either A, I don't want to bother them. Vendors want to know, because the relationship is, I want your business, and if something happens, I need that feedback. So that friendliness of just going, we don't want you to feel uncomfortable at all. If you had a less than stellar experience with a product, people are all very friendly and engaging to just go, we want you to know you can trust what's going on here at the market.
So at a farmer's market, I assume you try to have a bit of this and a bit of that, and you're checking things off on your checklist. Is there anything that you would like to see that you don't have yet at the farmer's market?
Let me see. I know we have an awful lot of fantastic produce folks.
And I'm just thinking of someone out there that's listening that may have a business idea and thinking, oh, I would love to do this.
You know what I would really love to see a bit more of is that farmers markets tend to have, okay, I've got my beef, I've got my chicken, I've got my fish, got my cheese, got eggs, all those kinds of things that you would tick off and expecting. What I would love to see, and what's beautiful about British Columbia, is there's a huge cultural component. There's this melting pot of any number of different types of foods from cultures that are just so flavorful and savorful. And that's what I love about, as I've learned about picking up ideas about food in the market, is that my enjoyment of how I eat has gone through the roof since I've been at the market. Likewise, the fact that BC has so many different cultures that can contribute any number of things, I would certainly love to see that get a little more inclusive. We've got a French food vendor that's new to us this year, and then we also have a old school pierogi vendor who does fantastic pierogies. So absolutely any cultural groups out there that, whether it's East Indian, Asian cuisine, we would love to see more diversity, which is reflected in our communities, also be reflected in farmers markets, because it is about connectedness with the communities we're involved with.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ron. So we're speaking to Ron J. Gorman. Is there a significance with the J there?
There actually is. I know it kind of gets a little bit trippy going, oh, well, what's with the J? Well, my dad was Ron Sr.
Oh, okay.
So when I came out, my mother was like, oh, that's Ronald James Gorman. And so she named me after my father when she saw me. So we've certainly spent a lifetime when we grew up, and people would phone, oh, is Ronnie Gorman there? And sometimes it would be for fishermen for my dad, calling him Ronnie. And then, of course, when I grew up, my name was Ronnie. So my mom got absolutely frustrated. Which one do you want? So, yes. So the J is helpful for me. I am an identity unto myself, too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but a couple of years ago, was the Burnaby's Farmers Market not located at the Burnaby Village Museum?
It actually was.
Okay.
It was a really neat opportunity to try a different location. Why there was the change in the location, we wanted to try something different to help draw more people to the area where we've got the village, which is a spectacular community opportunity. But we've also got the Deer Lake boating. We've also got Shadbolt and the Burnaby Art Gallery. So this year we're working really hard to cross-promote on Facebook and Twitter and do our best at the market to help promote the area as a whole. So the reason we went back to the parking lot, safety was the first issue, is that as vendors, when we were driving in here and setting up and then leaving, because this is all about tourists down here, we didn't want to have that be an issue. But also we realized that a lot of our customers liked the idea they could park right near the tents at the parking lot. They could go back and get more stuff, put it back in their car. So it really became more, the parking lot had a great deal more function, and safety and flow of traffic really worked well. So there's lots of parking.
Ron, you need to get them to cycle to the Burnaby Farmers Market.
Oh, absolutely. That's one thing. And I'll tell you this, is that you can catch a bus. There is a bus loop that comes from Metchtown, from North Burnaby, that you can absolutely get here by transit because it's just off Canada Way, which is a major thoroughfare. So biking, of course, being able to enjoy Deer Lake is just stunning on a sunny day. So you can come to the market, you can go enjoy a picnic at the park, you can come to the market afterwards and grab a few things to take home with you. There's a lot of options with this area.
Sustainability.
Yes. Can I tell you that I don't know what your experience is like when you're in the community, but one of the things that really pushed us as a business at the market was, how do we help provide good information that's balanced in the marketplace around food, where people can make informed decisions and not feel overwhelmed?
Right.
Because sometimes a lot of the choices, I don't have time to do the homework with all of my food. So the beauty of being at the farmer's market is I can say, where is this from? How is it raised? What are the health benefits of how you've raised or grown your product? Thank you. And I can go, yes, I can purchase. In the supermarket, where there's all kinds of choices, I don't have the ability to really understand as clearly what's gone into the process of my food and how it's been raised or how it's been packaged or taken care of in that chain of custody to get to the supermarket. So as a customer, I appreciate the value that I don't have to do the homework to figure out my food, because sustainability, as I'm sure you've heard, anyone and everyone can use it, just like you can market the concept of fat-free. There's any number of exemptions that you can still use the term fat-free and not really be fat-free.
Isn't it like a percentage thing?
There is. And so I guess for me as a consumer, if I want to go grab something that says fat-free, I'm hoping that's what it means. I'm hoping that there's not some little wiggle room there to go, oh, so it's not really fat-free. Or if it's something sugar-free and you really don't understand with the different sweeteners that are available now that we're finding affect our health sometimes for some people. So I like the idea that with sustainability, you can talk to local consumers. Their goal is to connect not only with the earth for the food that we're growing and the animals we are raising, but sustainability really is more of a philosophy and a way of being. And it's no different than it was 100 years ago. Buyer beware. All kinds of businesses will find ways to use a trend word to go, oh, here you go, we're sustainable. And I've had many people ask me, what does that mean for you as a seafood vendor? What does that mean where the rubber hits the road? You can go to the farmer's market and get all those answers. No problem, really quick, really easy.
Oh, great. Have we missed anything at all?
I'd just like to say, because we're in a new technological age, which
maybe a website kind of
I've
thing?
just
or a Facebook
gotten
page
on board with, because I'm just
Okay.
a slug that way.
All right.
But artisanfarmersmarkets.ca is our website.
Repeat that again?
Artisanfarmersmarkets.ca is our website, and you can friend us on Facebook at Artisan Burnaby Farmers Market, or follow us on Twitter at Burnaby Artisan. So we look forward to seeing some smiling, delightful faces at the Burnaby Farmers Market at the City Hall parking lot.
And bring your own bag?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're finding that a lot of people have just caught onto that like no time. In the last 5 years, people have that conscious effort to go, oh, I don't need a bag. It's all good.
So exact time and date and locations.
Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's at the Burnaby City Hall parking lot, and that's just shy of Canada Way and Deer Lake Parkway, just across from Burnaby Central High School. And rain or shine, so we've got all kinds of events, so you can check the website to see what events are happening. And we just love having people come to the market, especially as first-time people, to just go, what's this all about? And we're happy to just engage people.
Ron J. Gorman of the Burnaby Farmers Market, thank you so much for joining me here at Radio BVM. This is Motorman Elwin signing off.